Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Have you ever wondered what those mysterious holes in the back of your keyboard or synthesizer are for? Not these ones, these ones. Well, I guess a certain Loopop was confronted with these questions a time ago, and this is what he came up with. This is the +3 pedal, and chances are I've been involved in this project, so if you want to find out more, please join me in this video. Here we go. So, in the box you'll find the sustain pedal built by Spanish company Endorphins. There's also a set of cables to connect this to the sustain and foot pedal part of your synthesizer, and an adapter cable from 6.35 to 3.5mm plugs. The 3-pole cable belongs into the foot controller port, by the way. The whole pedal is built solidly and has 4 rubber feet, so you can place it on your keyboard or desk and operate the fader without moving the pedal. The key is nice and clicky, as are the 2 switches. So the idea here is to turn the sustain and expression pedals, which supposedly are not that common in desktop setups, into manual controls, while adding the possibility to use an endless sustain too. In this video, I'll give you 2 examples on how to use this. Okay, so this is my Yamaha EX5, an old keyboard from a time more civilized, when people still cared about creating new technologies for creating sound. And here's Loopop's +3 pedal. It's connected to the expression port and the sustain port, and I've created a patch which should go with this very well. Let's listen to this. Now I can press this switch here. Now we have endless sustain. And now I can just go here. And move the expression slider here. I think you get the point. Let's take a quick look at how I set this up. So, the Yamaha EX5, if you're visiting my channel for the first time, is a 25-year-old synthesizer, which has Yamaha's AWM synthesis built in, among other things, and I've used that here. You can see there are 4 oscillators, which are samples in this case. I've created one stereo layer of this CS80 brass here. And then we have this saw wave plucked sound here. So I've used the 4 possible oscillators to create a keyboard split. And you can do this by creating zones. In this table you can see this is our first layer, second layer, third and fourth layer. And if I'm selecting my layers here, you can see that the zone in which these oscillators can work is split in 2. And that's the whole trick here. On the EX5 you can assign amplitude envelopes to each and every oscillator in your patch. So I've created one amplitude envelope that has full sustain here. And on the right hand, you can see we only have an attack and decay phase. There are no sustain phases here and a relatively long release. And by setting the sustain to 0 or nothing, this part of the sound won't react to the sustain pedal here. And that's basically everything behind this. So I have set up some controls. You can see I can switch between the different menu options here easily. Let's go to the control set. I have one control on the foot controller, which is the expression pedal, and this will control the filter envelope depth on both this part of my sound, the left hand part, and on the right hand part. But it's moving in different directions, so on the left hand, if I push this up, the filter will move upwards, and here it will move down. So we've got opposing directions here, and if you listen closely, you can hear that. So here the sound is getting darker. And here it's getting brighter. So that's one idea how to use this pedal. Now let's take a quick look at the application I wrote. Okay, for the next use case, I've connected my keyboard here to the MU2000, which is a general MIDI device, and I've selected the warm pad patch, which sounds like this. And now, as you can see on the screen, there's my app. And the idea here is that you can now use the red button here as a toggle button. And there can be two functions assigned to this fader. And you can see on screen perhaps that I have set the input fader to CC4, which is the expression pedal on the EX5 here. You can see there's something being displayed on screen when I move this around. I've assigned this to CC74 on the first channel. This is a filter cutoff frequency, and on the second channel it's assigned to CC1, which is vibrato. So let's listen to this. I can now hold down this button here and move the slider. What you also can do is you can filter out the sustain command. So if I go on and turn this off, now we can also use the sustain pedal, but it will also act as a toggle switch still. Yeah, and that was my modest contribution to this project. I talked to Loopop behind the scenes about this, and there are some more ideas we could work on here. We could turn this into a Sostenuto pedal, so this means you play some notes on the keyboard, then hold this key here, or hold this button here. And now Sostenuto means if you now played other notes, they won't be sustained. So this means we have some kind of clever filter which holds the first notes you play while pushing this button, and all other notes are passed through as they are. But that's future music, so maybe you have some ideas too what we could do here, and perhaps we'll do that then. There's one more secret about the +3 pedal, so let's take a look inside. As you can see, there's a jumper here, and if you move this jumper around to face like this, then the sustain button will take the role of the expression pedal. So pressing the button, full expression, no expression, full expression, no expression. Okay, it's easy to open this up. There are only 3 screws you need to remove, but let's push this back in place here. Okay. So what to think of the +3 pedal? Well, it is what it is. It's an expression and sustain pedal, but for your desktop, with all the advantages and disadvantages that has. The advantages are the extended functionality with the endless sustain and the toggle switch, but the disadvantages, you can't use both your hands to play the keyboard, while using a real expression pedal and a real sustain pedal with your feet, it's no problem to do that if you're trained to do that. So it really depends on the price. As I said, we can extend the software in the future to include new functionality, and I hope you, my audience, will have some ideas you give us as feedback. This does not need any power supplies, it just uses existing expression and sustain ports on your keyboard. That's it, the +3 pedal, designed by Loopop and Endorphins, with a little software contribution from my side. Here's one more demo, and then it's time to wrap up this video. Yeah, and that's it for today. The +3 pedals by Loopop and Endorphins, a simple but useful idea. So if you think this was a good YouTube video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And of course, Loopop himself also made a video on this pedal. I'll link that in this video's description. It should be somewhere here as well. As always, thanks for watching and see you again very soon. Bye bye.